Hello, everybody. Welcome to our BNI Talks webinar. Today, we've got a returning presenter, Mike Savage. His company is The Savage Secrets, and he has lots to share today. So let's buckle in, take some notes when you get a chance. And by the way, if you have any questions for the Q&A section at the end, please put them right in that Q&A section in your box there. If you have regular comments, just keep putting them right here in the chat. All right, Mike, you ready to go?
I am fired up and ready to go, Steve.
All right, take it away.
So good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're from, good evening, I suppose. Thank you, Steve, so much for the opportunity. Thank you, BNI. Those of you that are in BNI know the value of our organization. It's just super powerful. And so today I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship in business and, a vision board and beyond. 3 secrets to build a multi-million-dollar business and live the life of your dreams. Journey is your journey. Guy had an idea and say, hey, I got an idea. I think I can do it better or different or quicker or something. And so one of my first companies, if you know what this is, I'm going to give you the old category because this is called the Stairmaster. And it's one of the things I used to work out on when I was in my 20s. And so I had a problem. I was bored when I was working out. So what did I do? I bent a piece of plastic into a reading rack so that I could work out on my fitness machine. And so one thing led to another. We came up with the idea. We built the business, started going to trade shows. This is my wife and I early on stages of starting the company. And then all of a sudden the business grows and we start adding more products. And for some reason, this is another trade show a few years later. And someone actually told us that, hey, I got an idea. If you and your wife dress up in matching jumpsuits, then I think that would be good for business. Now, if I walked to a trade show and I saw 2 people dressed like this, I'd do one of 2 things. I'd shoot them or I'd run. So needless to say, you go through business and you make some decisions. Some are good, some are not good. I ended up building another business where, we sold a whole bunch of women's fitness and exercise products to major retailers. That business ended up growing. We ended up having, 350 products and sold products to all of these major retailers all over the world. And it sounds sexy, but during the process, I lost my soul. I lost my energy. I lost my passion. I lost my love for entrepreneurship. And this business wasn't a good ending business, but what I'm trying to share is that there's lots of stuff that goes on throughout the journey of entrepreneurship. And so a little bit about me. I'm a keynote speaker, business coach. I'm an investor, serial entrepreneur. I've been doing this a long time. I am a personal growth junkie. I've been sticking good stuff in from, the day I was 17 years old to today. And, it's just getting different perspectives on things. Been building companies. My largest grew to 25 million. I had 50 employees. And during that 15-year span, sold about $250 million in product to these major retailers. I've been on boards, I've been investors and speakers, I've had all this stuff. And basically, I've experienced a lot of stuff in the world of entrepreneurship. And what I do now is I've changed my life several years ago. And what I do now is I follow my passion. I think I was put on the earth to be a teacher. But the problem is that I don't like rules, I don't like curriculum, and I haven't had a boss in 30 years. So I help you win the hard-hitting emotional and financial roller coaster sport of business so you can live the life of your dreams. Now, up until potentially March of 2020, business was a roller coaster, ups and downs, lefts and rights. But at that time, many businesses experienced something that was not just a roller coaster, it was a cliff. Basically, the road came out from under you and you were faced with this next challenge. What do I do? Nobody that I've ever talked to has in their strategic planning, hey, this could happen. I think the government could take all of my customers away. I think there could be a global pandemic so that I no longer have a business. So lots of stuff. It's a roller coaster. And so today I want to share with you some of the secrets, some of the things that I've learned over the years. Don't waste your time on a business plan until you understand this secret weapon. Number 2, the top 1% of entrepreneurs have mastered this skill and consistently dominate their market. And then number 3, you can have massive success in your personal and business life if you do this every day. And I make it a little fancy with the warning, warning, this is addictive. But I do want to be serious for a second and say, this thing that sits on our shoulders is the most powerful force in the world. And if you think about it, every product, every service, every business, every charitable foundation was once the idea in the mind of one person. And so when you take and process that, that's a lot of stuff. So the thoughts that are in your head, those thoughts manifest themselves. They become things. Beliefs become decisions. Your language is your power. If you have good language, it's strong power. If you have bad language, it's bad. Your physiology, how you hold yourself, that can it drive you, push you. Your focus is your feelings and your habits. So all of the stuff, you know, you look at the computer world, garbage in, garbage out. When you're putting good stuff in, good stuff is going to manifest. When you're putting the bad stuff in, bad stuff manifests. So if we talk about the brain, think about this. Inc. magazine did a study several years ago, and they said that we make 35,000 decisions a day. Now, I'm not 100% sure who counted them during this study, but they said 35,000 decisions. So let's think about this. We go through our life, really, for the first 18 years of our lives, we don't have any control, right? We can't control our parents, our family. We can't control the neighborhood. Think about the neighborhood that you grew up in. Did you grow up in a rich neighborhood, a poor neighborhood? You had no control. Were you brought up in a family where there was risk averse, or it's like, hey man, go take a chance? Loving, hate-filled? Were you taught to dream big? Were you taught to, you know, was there alcohol? Was there abuse? Was there violence? Was the, you know, did your parents and your upbringing teach you the values of work hard and teamwork, or were they kind of like Homer Simpson here? Just, you know, pop a beer on your belly and hope to get through the next day. So we have no control of this. And then this magical thing happens at age 19. We become adults. We leave high school and we either go to college, we get a job, and all of the stuff that happened prior to that moment, once we get to this decision point, this fork in the road, do we take a left or a right? The decision of left or right is based on everything that's gone into your brain up until that point. So we go through this matrix of decision making. And if you take a left or a right and you think about all the decisions we make, you could become a teacher. You could be a surgeon. You could be a farmer. You could be an NFL player. You could be homeless. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. Now, just imagine this. If you're going down this road of life and all of a sudden, instead of taking a left or a right at one point, could your life be different? How much more different would it be? The brain is a powerful thing. And so I call this the savage shield. If we can create this shield, create this force field, create this power with all of these things, it helps us throughout the journey when we are inevitably battered. We go through these challenges in life. And so as entrepreneurs, I believe that we live 3 movies simultaneously. I call this the entrepreneur's trilogy. In any trilogy, you can watch a movie independent, you watch them all together, it makes sense. But I call it the entrepreneur's trilogy: Heartset, Mindset, and Skill Set. In the first movie, Heartset, the most important piece of this is health. And the one thing, health, we take for granted until it's taken away. Most of us have either personally experienced health challenges or know people that have. It's so invaluable. We don't get to trade this thing in. We only get one vehicle to drive through life. So your health, your relationships with your friends and family, and your happiness. So if you have this, and I believe this to my core, that if you have your health, you have great relationships with your friends and your family, and you're happy, you've won this game. You've won this journey called life. Now, the challenge with go-getters, entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, wherever you're at, there is this next. I want next. I want more. What's next level for me? So that's where we get into movie number 2, which I call mindset. And it's what's the stuff that you're sticking into your brain? You know, we are who we are where we are because of the stuff that's gone into our brain since day one. No one can deny that. And so you have the stuff that goes in. You also have the things that drive you. What are your goals? What are your dreams? And if they're strong enough, they will propel you. They will propel you to take action. That's momentum. So your mind, your motivation, and your momentum. Story 2, movie 2. And then the final one is business stuff, right? Where we're entrepreneurs, we run companies, or we're going to run companies. And so within the business world, it's like you have a product or a service, you have a target market, and then you have a strategic marketing plan. So your product and service, product or service, there's always that ideal client, that ideal customer avatar, that target market, and your strategic marketing plan goes with it. So this is what I refer to as the entrepreneur's trilogy. These movies live simultaneously in our lives, and it's important to sort of grab a good hold of them. So right now, so let's talk about secret one. Don't waste your time on a business plan. Now, I've made this mistake so many times in my life. I go out there, I create a business plan, and I miss this thing right here. I've missed, because we are men and women before we are ever businessmen and businesswomen. And so these are the things that happen in our lives, these macro areas, and each one is independent of the other. And so it becomes super important for us to dream about this, have goals in each of these areas. And what I've done, one of the things that I've done with my wife, and I teach my clients, I teach all over the world, is create a vision board. And this isn't a vision board where you go and stick a picture of a Lamborghini on a piece of cardboard and stick it behind your desk. This is spend some time with it in each of these core areas of your life. And so when my wife and I went and did this, we crafted, and again, this is just a graphical, this is imagery. You know, what are those things that are in our personal lives as it relates to health? We're avid outdoors people and mountain bikers. What about your friends and your family? What are those key things that you want to accomplish with your friends and family? What's the most important stuff to you there? What about contribution and fun? You know, I have this dream to build in my hometown. I want to build a Little League field. I want to call it Savage Stadium. Finances and wealth. What are those financial goals that you might have? Your personal development goals, your business goals. So all of this combined, this is magic. If you then take the next level, if you look at this on a daily basis and you study it, then the next level is, okay, well, how do I make these dreams come true? We craft goals, right? And I call, and I'm sure this isn't the first time you've heard SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So, okay, well, let's create a SMART goal. I'm going to share with you a couple of mine. So one of my goals is I want to deliver a TED Talk to an audience of at least 1,000 people on how my gifts of tragedy turned into triumph before 12/31/2021. Is that a SMART goal? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based? Sure is. Am I done? Not a chance in heck, because there's more to it. It's like, what's the step-by-step process that I need to take to make this a reality? What are the action steps? What are the obstacles? What are the skills I need? And more importantly, what is my reason? And so I spent a lot of time in each one of these areas, filling this out, being specific as to what are the steps I need to take? What are the obstacles I need to take that I may encounter? And most importantly, why is this important to me? And as I'm going on this journey, it is becoming a struggle. I still have my goal of getting it done before year end, but it's becoming a challenge. There's things getting in the way. And so this is another goal. I'm not going to go through it, but I want to complete 30 mountain bike rides. That's sort of my passion. I like to get out in the wilderness and, break bones. I've broken a collarbone on my mountain bike, so I'm not that bright either. But I want to get out there and do 30 mountain bike rides, 10 miles or longer, 10 different courses in 4 states, not including Massachusetts. I'm a Massachusetts guy. So I'm about halfway there from the number of rides, going back out again this afternoon, and I'm now at 5 states. Next month, I'm going to Phoenix. So I've got all this, but it's in front of me. And so secret one, you got to dream, you got to have goals. The vision board, coupled with SMART goals, coupled with step-by-step action plans. And then this one, call it a shameless plug, but it doesn't matter if it's me. But you need to have someone in your life that can challenge you, that can take those goals and not, hey, I was too busy this week. Someone that you can share the goals with and go and attack this. So secret one, dream big, have goals. You can see the sign behind me. I'm a big fan of dreaming big. So let's talk about secret 2. The top 1% of entrepreneurs have mastered this skill and consistently dominate their market year after year. So the world of entrepreneurship is filled with all sorts of stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you one of my businesses. This is not, didn't exactly name it Clueless Business Inc., but these are some of the mistakes that I made in business. So I make and do a bunch of stuff. If you have a pulse, your mind. I was actually in a webinar the other day or a networking event where I asked, so what is the criteria to get into to be a member? What's your ideal client? He goes, if you have a pulse. And it was kind of surprising, but you kind of, I always say the riches are in the niches. So you need to focus on that. And then pop some stuff onto social media and email. This is not the ideal approach to business. And so I'm going to share with you, like, as you talk about your product portfolio or your service, the things that you offer, you've got to start asking a bunch of questions about that. What's your DNA and your brand promise? And why do you do what you do? What is the specific problem you solve? What's your superpower? What makes you unique and distinct in the marketplace? What are those things that you would consider non-negotiables, meaning your values, your mission, your core? What are the things that are, is it going to be high quality, or is it going to be, hey, okay, if I'm running a restaurant and, I don't have the best policies in place, okay, no big deal. Who are your competitors? And then this one is probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in business, which is pestle analysis. What are those political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental things that are happening in the world today that could impact your business? Like I said, even if you did this on February of 2020, the chances are you having a game plan for the world shutting down are probably pretty slim. But nonetheless, constantly be looking at the big picture of your product and your service. The second piece is your target market or your ideal client or a great referral or whatever. Who is your customer, and not just who, why? Why are they your customers? What's the competitor's customer? What's their ideal client? What are the benefits that you can provide to them? It's not just about who he or she is, it's the psychographic, the digging deep. What are the questions that he or she is asking? What other products does he or she buy? So the better you know your target market, the more prepared you will be to go after that and win this game of entrepreneurship. And so let's talk about the third piece, strategic marketing. Now I'm going to share with you, one of my companies. I got a couple different businesses, but this one is my coaching and speaking business. So let's just take, for example, one of the products I have in my coaching and speaking business, one-on-one business coaching. Who is an ideal client for me? Entrepreneur, 0 to 50 employees, annual sales, 100,000 to 3 million, been in business for at least a year, driven to scale, coachable, committed A player. And I always say, if your bathroom mirror is your board of advisors, it might be nice to invite someone new to the meeting. So this is one product and one target market. Now, if I look at another one of my products, which is keynote speaking or being able to speak on a stage, I have a completely different ideal client, a completely different target market. And so, going back to the first business, basically the next step in the process is strategic marketing. And I think strategic marketing is basically a dating service, right? It's Match.com. You have a product or a service, and you have a target market, ideal client, great referral. Strategic marketing and sales is nothing but introducing product to target market, right? The challenge with marketing is there is an insatiable number of options that you have to market your business. And so in my case, when I started this business, my first step, I picked 5 things that I was going to do, and I was going to attack, and I was going to go after to build this particular business. Over time, I started to add new things to the things that I do in the marketing realm. But ultimately, this whole entrepreneur's trilogy right here, or this skill set piece of the movie, is so essential to your business. And there are 3 letters, only 3, that really matter as you're building a business and trying to find customers. KLT. Your customer, your future customer, your ideal client needs to know you, like you, and trust you. And there's a myriad of ways to get there. But ultimately, if you go through that process, your product portfolio, your target market ideal client, your strategic marketing plan, this is what I call the heartbeat of business. And you can see how I geeked out on the fancy slide, the pumping of the heart and the spinning of the wheel. So I do have a little geek in me. Actually, I have a lot of geek in me. But this is the heartbeat of business. If you master this and you constantly revisit it, because that's really super important as well. Constantly revisiting this, because the world changes, things change. You may have a product that was fantastic at one point, and then all of a sudden the world shifted and it's no longer valuable. Your ideal client or target market may shift. Your strategic marketing plan, with the number of things that are happening in the world technologically, with apps and all the different social media opportunities, it's constantly changing and constantly evolving. So Secret 2, you got to master this one. And then finally, massive success personally and professionally if you do this every day. Now, again, little warning, this is addictive. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, this is what life is like, right? You just chill. You kick back, you put your feet up, and you watch the dollar bills roll in. Not quite. This is more the face of the frustrated entrepreneur. It's, who in their right mind is crazy enough to want to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40? It's just in our DNA. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing what I do. I love the spirit. I love when you take that risk, that financial risk, and you say, I'm going after my dream. But when you look at your life, entrepreneurs, okay, we have a little different. Now, we all have a personal life stuff, right? This is life trash, right? This is the stuff that's always there. You got kids and parents, and there's sickness and illness and work and exercise and sleep and all sorts of stuff that goes on in our personal life. So now you're the entrepreneur too, right? So you get to sprinkle on top of that all of these other things, especially with when COVID hit. You got the PPP loans, you got EIDL loans. What's going to happen to my business? Am I there? Did I all of a sudden lose my company? I was literally just hanging out about an hour ago with a friend of mine who had a trade show building business. He built trade show booths. He had 150 employees. He's at 0. Okay, he lost his business because of this. So we got all of these, and now you sprinkle on your personal life on top of your business life. Guess what? It can become a little challenging. So I want to share with you a 4-week life lesson, I guess I called it. 4 weeks in my life several years ago that, sort of helped me get back on track. But, I was going through a period where one of my companies was struggling. And I had built this company from scratch. My wife and I, we had an idea. We built into a big business. We were running for 15 years. It was everything to us. And I also, during the same exact period, my mom was dying, and she had cancer, and we're going back and forth to chemo, and went through that journey. If you've been through it, it's not fun, but it's part of the journey. And ultimately, my mom ended up passing away. And I remember saying to my wife, I said, "Hun, we now have a guardian angel up there. She is going to help us resurrect this business. We're going to get this thing back on track." 7 days after I said that, after we buried my mom, I got a letter from the bank that said, "Mike, you need to write me a check for $1 million or I'm shutting you down." And okay, a bit of a wake-up call. And I had the money, but I also had a very, very good advisor that said, "Mike, might not be the best move." 7 days after that, my wife goes into the hospital with pneumonia, in ICU, intensive care. It was a very yucky situation. And then to top off what I call my magical month, I got a notice from the IRS that I was being audited. So needless to say, wasn't one of the best periods of my life. And this was the stuff going in my brain. This was what I call a bad state. And the language said my child was dying. Literally the business was 15 years old, and my daughter was 16 and my son was 14. And so my child is dying. I failed my investors. My dream is gone. I fell in love with my employees. We went through so many battles together. What the heck am I going to do? I'm 50 years old. What are my friends going to think? So all of this stuff was into my brain constantly, day in and day out. What was the result? I was in therapy for 2 years. They pumped me full of psychiatric meds. I don't even know what the hell I was taking. Having panic attacks. I had awful, awful thoughts. Didn't sleep. Family was a mess. Drank like a fish. Physically gained weight. It was just yuck. And so then something happened. Well, maybe I did have guardian angels. So this is my mom. And so maybe my mom was acting in such a way that what she was doing was really going to help me. And I also hired a coach. I hired a Tony Robbins coach. Now, this might not be what you envision as your typical guardian angel or your typical coach. Actually, Charlie's a Harley riding, long-haired, hippie kind of dude, but he saved my life. He literally saved my life. And so my language changed. I remember being in a call with him, and he started screaming at me, get up, and start repeating, change your language. And I went through this metamorphosis over years. but I changed my language, and this is the G-rated version of my language. You can imagine when I get a little jacked up, I might have been a few four-letter words, but this is a family show, so no four-letter words.
Thank you, Mike.
I knew you would like that, Steve. I said, it ain't over till it's over. You know, I did it before, I'll do it again. I will start fresh. I will create something new. I am one high energy guy. I'm bouncing back better and stronger. I've got 30 years of experience. I will create something new, and the universe is unfolding as it should. There's a poem that you should check out called the Desiderata, and it's a magical poem, but it says, whether you realize it or not, the universe is unfolding as it should. And so that was the language that started to get pumped into my system. These were the results. I started 3 companies since then, wrote 2 books. My diet and exercise is fantastic. As you might have guessed, I'm a rather high energy individual. I have a boatload, my life, I'm so happy with where I'm at. I own my morning. I've added thousands to my network, and I've got more passion and drive and energy and appreciation and gratitude today than I have at any other point in my life. Now, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to close with this. This is one thing that I would recommend anyone do. I call it Savage Sunrise, and it's my morning routine. And this isn't something you flip a switch and all of a sudden you implement this in your life, but my life has changed because of this. I don't wake up normally. I guess not normally. So first off, I start up as soon as my head wakes up, my eyes pop open. I'm either getting in a nice cold shower, or I'm jumping in our pool. We opened our pool on March 31st. If you are from New England and you know this area, March 31st is not pool weather. The pool water was 38 degrees, but I get in, I jump in, and trust me, once you go into that, you're not groggy. Hey, I think I want to go back to bed. It fires you up. And I don't recommend it for everybody, but this is what works for me. Then I go brush and build. What does that mean? I don't just brush my teeth anymore. I listen to stuff. I put positive stuff in. I listen to, aspirational speakers, people that I've followed for years. Then I go down to my lake. This is the reservoir I live on. I sit down there every morning. You will find me down there between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going through my meditation, 10 minutes. I just calm my spirit. Then I thank the world and the universe for the things that I'm grateful in my life. It is very difficult to be angry, frustrated, disappointed, and grateful at the same time. Then I pray for those people in my life that are going through challenges. I visualize my perfect day. Trust me, this was part of my visualization today. And then I take the field. Think about the football team if you follow football. When the guys come out of the locker room, they don't gingerly walk and hum a tune and hold hands. They charge out of the locker room. They're fired up. They're energetic. And this is how I take my day. So secret 3, if you own your morning, you win the day. And I want to just, in closing, 3 secrets. And obviously there's a lot more to this than just what I've shared here, but step 1, dream big and crush your goals. It's so important to have those things, because when times are tough and you don't have that thing you're reaching for, it becomes difficult. Master that heartbeat of business. Really dig into your product portfolio, your services, who your target market is, and your strategic marketing plan, and own your morning. And I wanted to offer this up free to anybody that's watching today, any of our BNI family. If you go to my website, the savagesecrets.com/playbook, you can download these books. The Dream Big and Crush Your Goals book is in the back of the book, the PDF version. It's a fill-inable. You can fill in the goals for each of those areas in your life that are important. Your personal finance, your business, your financial goals, your health and wellness goals. So, but you can fill in that. And the second book is, I've been saying this for years, that there's only 3 ways to grow a business. And, I can't say that I invented it. I learned it through some of my mentors. But I go through in detail and talk about how these 3 ways: increase your average order, increase the frequency of order, increase the number of customers, how you can go through and take those things and apply them to your business, not just your business, but even if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for another business, you are your company, right? You are your business. And so again, the savagesecrets.com/playbook, I'll leave this link open for the next 24, 48 hours. So please write it down. And Steve, I am ready to rock and roll if there's any questions from our group.
Yeah. First, Mike, thanks for that. That was inspiring. I know you're a high energy guy, and I think a lot of people were in the comments were really excited about what you were sharing today.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, you got a lot of really great feedback. People love that you were asking about, that you mentioned that poem. I put in a link for that as well. And there's a live link from Mike's website as well. So thank you for sharing those two PDFs for them to work with. So let's jump into Q&A. If anyone has more questions, you can jump right into Q&A and add them. But so the first question is, how do we access this webinar? Okay, so we put it in two places. It'll be on BNI Business Builder, and it'll also be on our YouTube channel, which is called BNI Team USA. So you'll be able to see both of those starting maybe tonight, but probably tomorrow morning when I have a chance to upload it. Okay, people are asking for your slides. About 8 people have asked if they could get a copy of the slides. I already answered and said yes. So we'll have to work on getting a PDF out to them. So Mike, if you could send me that,
Yep,
that would be great.
absolutely, absolutely.
To everybody who registered. So let's see, what else do we have? We got the slides. Okay, nice comment from Stefan there. And then let's see. Mike, you're speaking to exactly where I am right now, says an anonymous person. I am in tears listening to you, relating to your ability to rise from the ashes. Thank you for your encouraging words. This too shall pass.
Thank you. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you know, we as entrepreneurs, whether you're running a business or not, we're all going through, we all face those roadblocks, you know. There are times in our lives that we get punched, you know, and there's you know, it's difficult to not go through it, you know, and it's difficult to stay fired up and super energized when you're going through the bad stuff. And that's, you know, quite frankly, why I think I've gravitated so much to the world of coaching, because I know the beauty of having that right person that can sort of shift the way you think. Because oftentimes, you know, as I mentioned with the forks in the road, you know, we are who we are because of what's gone into our mind. Now I talk about the forks, like everybody that's on the call today did not have to be here, right? No one's forcing you to be here. You chose to come. And if you were able to pull away one thing from the presentation that can help you on your journey, you've won. But there's a lot of people, there's millions of people in BNI, they aren't all here. So congratulations to all of you that chose to attend. And hopefully, you know, but it's just like anything else. The stuff that you put in, different books, different podcasts. BNI is coming up, Steve's coming out with a podcast. So get ready for that one. It's gonna be a game changer. But you wanna be putting in this good stuff. And the more that you put in, the more that you start to say, damn, were my parents right? Like, is that really the way it's supposed to be? Or, you know, I'll say this, this is one of the things I got from my dad. My dad died really early, but he said, Mike, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. I'm sure you've heard this before. And that's true, you know, because the conversations change. If you talk about and hang out with people that's all about doom and gloom, guess what? You become doom and gloom. When I was, my kids were growing up, I would always ask them when they come home from school, why was your day great? I never asked them, how was your day? I forced them to give me an answer. Anyone that's a client of mine knows the first question, why is your day great? So yeah, it's the stuff that goes in. We all go through these difficult journeys, but just like the computer program, when you put the good stuff in, magic can come out.
Excellent. Okay, so let me ask you this. All right. So first off, my pal Judith asks, what was the stat from Inc. magazine? Again, if you could repeat that one.
It was that we make 37,000 decisions a day. That was their study. Now, I have to assume that that includes taking the blankets off of us in the morning when we wake up. Do I put toothpaste on the toothbrush? or do I brush my teeth without toothpaste? I got to assume that in 37,000, you're driving down the road. Should I put a blinker on? Should I put my foot on the gas, the brake or the gas? So I got to assume there's a lot of that. But yet there are other types of decisions that we make throughout this journey, throughout our day. And it's just super interesting to know that as you go through the forks in the road, if you take a left or a right, if something can influence you differently. I was on BNI National Networking the other day, and I was on a call with a woman from Alabama, and she went to school. She got a master's degree in biology or something, and I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Well, I work for a nonprofit." So what's the nonprofit? She goes, "Well, I help families with foster children." And I said, "How did you transition from the world that you were at to this?" She goes, "I went to a speech and I saw the founder talk, and it changed my life." One decision. She didn't have to go to the speech, but one little fork, one change. She could have worked for a biology company. And it might not be biology, but she could have gone and worked in that profession for her whole life. But she went to one event, one speech, one different philosophical journey down life, and now this is what she's committed to. I've been on a lot of networking. This woman was so excited about her life. It was great. It was just so.
All
yeah,
right,
that's a lot of decisions. 37,000. So
we have a bunch of questions that just popped in. So let's see. First one, what is your recommendation of entrepreneurs who struggle with time due to hectic family life? The morning routine is great, but it's hard when you've got young kids.
So I would first challenge you on your language, okay? Because we all have 24 hours. We get to do with it whatever the heck we want. Now, I started my first business when my daughter was 1. No, I shouldn't even say that. I started my business before my children were born. And so I get the journey. My wife and I started the business. So I understand time challenge. I understand all these things. It's kind of like I have another business that sells fitness and exercise products. The very greatest day of the year is January 2nd. Why is that? Because that's when everyone goes on a diet. And then all of a sudden, February 15th, it's all gone away. So my answer to you would be, since we all have these time challenges and we can chunk our time, what are the ways that you can do things a little bit differently? How can we ask different questions? If you are cleaning the house, can you be listening to a podcast from Steve Tanuzzo? If you're cleaning the house, can you be listening to a book, The Magic of Thinking Big? If you're cleaning the house or washing your car or doing the laundry, are there other things that you can be putting into your brain? And so those are the ways that you can take, dead time and turn it into productive time. And then secondly, I'd say, if you are aspiring to be an entrepreneur and get to that next level, or start a company, or build a company, or do whatever, don't try and eat the 2-pound Hershey's Kiss in one bite. Take baby steps, right? Set some goals. And if you want to say, hey, in 12 months, I want to be here, go after those goals. Go kick butt on those goals, but put them down, focus on it. Don't try and win. That's why everyone that decides to go on a diet on January 2nd, 99% fail because they set themselves up for failure because they're trying to do it. And I want to lose 30 pounds in 8 weeks. Good luck. It doesn't work that way. So I think that time, everybody has the same constraints. We only got 24. And if you can take little snippets of your day and try and move them toward your dream, you got a much better chance. I always say that, imperfect action beats perfect inaction. So just try one thing. Just try. Maybe you put a business plan together, or maybe you just come up with your first product, or maybe you talk to a neighbor about your business idea. Just takes a little bit of action, and all of a sudden, there's a really good book called Atomic Habits. I recommend everyone read it. It's all about taking little baby steps. Don't try and lose 30 pounds in a week. It doesn't work. Little baby steps.
All right. We're coming up to what I think is maybe my favorite question of all time, but I will precede this with, I have many friends who are attorneys and they're wonderful people. Okay. So John asks, do you ever work with lawyers or recommend this for lawyers? I would imagine lawyers are too arrogant or cocky or confident to listen much. Asking for a friend, he says.
Well, tell your friend. I have many clients and have had many clients that don't necessarily fall underneath the perfect referral, meaning, entrepreneur, 100 grand to 3 million, started the business from scratch. All this. I have several clients that are salespeople, and because they're just looking to get to that next level. Everybody, you can take, this is why I call this the entrepreneur trilogy. I really don't care if you're the president of the United States. I don't care how big your ego is. The fact is, the first movie and the second movie are the same for all of us, right? Our health, our family relationships, and our happiness, the stuff we put in, the stuff that drives us, and the action we take. I didn't mention a word about business. So if you're an attorney or your friend is an attorney, you have a product, right? You have a product or a service. I don't know what kind of attorney you are, but or your friend is, and then simultaneously you have a target market, right? Or an ideal client. And then the strategy is, how good is your product or service? Are you different than everybody else? Like, are you, an ambulance chaser attorney, or are you? It doesn't matter. You can be unique. But how many other attorneys do what you do, or your friend? How many other attorneys that do what you do? What is your target market? And then what's your strategic marketing plan? And more importantly, where do you want to go? Because when I work with a client, it's always, let's build our dream business that aligns with the values and goals of our dream life. I see way too many people do it the other way. I've got friends who run multi-million-dollar businesses that are miserable as hell. I got friends that have sold businesses that are miserable as hell. It's like, where do you want to go? So if your goal is to, build a law firm and get it to the point where you can sell it, all right, man, let's get on that path. Let's go down that journey. If it's, hey, I'm good being myself, I want to retire at 59 and a half, and I want to move to a lake somewhere, great. Let's line it up and let's get there. It's kind of like, this is what good coaches do. It's sort of like financial planners. Great financial planners don't talk about, okay, how much money you got today? It's like, where do you want to go? Like, where do you want to end up? And then let's craft a plan to get there. It's the same in business, so yeah, sometimes certain people in the world have egos. I'm not going to say I don't have an ego. Confidence that's out of control is an ego, right? Confidence, or someone that thinks they're better than someone else, that's an ego. That's bad stuff. And why is that? Why do people, sort of demean others? Well, because they have insecurities, right? So they can knock someone else down to make themselves feel better. So I'm not afraid of egos.
All right, let's jump into lightning round because we only got a few more minutes. We got a few questions here, and here's a good one. How do we change the 5 people we hang around?
The first thing I'd say is start. Find one. What you're doing right now, you're in BNI, right? You're with a team of winners. You're with a team where givers gain, right? You're a team of positive mental attitude. And so hanging around with BNI people in general is optimistic, okay? So, but there are plenty of other networking groups. I heard about this other thing. It's a social media platform called Facebook. You may have heard of it. They have groups in Facebook, all sorts of stuff. And there are, I would just challenge you to ask different questions, rather than how do I, it's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet one new person today that may be playing the game differently than I am. Or, your next door neighbor is, really happy all the time and I'm miserable all the time. Go over there, buy him a coffee, say, what the heck do you do all day? How can you be so happy? I have people saying, Mike, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you the way you are? Like, I made the decision. I choose to do this.
Great. All right. Gabrielle says she loves the presentation. She says, excellent, excellent. Do you miss any of your past life selling to the big boxes? How do you stay organized in your new life?
No, 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 no. So no, I do not miss that world, selling to the big box world, and it's not for everybody. And I had a great run, and I love the people that I dealt with. It was just it becomes, if you're a brand or you've got a really great intellectual property, you got a chance. But for all intents and purposes, like if you go to Amazon now, even I have another business that sells e-commerce products through Amazon. But if Amazon or Walmart or any of these others find a really good product, they have private labels, right? I think Amazon has something like 650 private label brands. So it's a challenge, and I keep focused because somehow I was given a gift that, Mike, you weren't put on the earth to sell ankle weights to TJ Maxx. You were put on the earth to educate, entertain, motivate, and inspire entrepreneurs so that they can live the life of their dreams. And so I'm grateful as heck right now.
Okay, a couple of really nice positive things people are saying here. What is the most influential book that has helped you on your journey?
So I could get up behind my desk and I could show you the three. It started out with The Magic of Thinking Big, and then Think and Grow Rich, and then my all-time favorite, I think it was not even one, all the books from Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was, an older dude, but he was the first one. Like when I grew up and I went through my journey, I didn't have anyone talk about why is your day great. I learned that and incorporated it. And here's another good one. So I had a client who has a 2-year-old, a baby, and he goes, "Oh yeah, the terrible twos." I go, "Terrible twos? How about terrific twos? How about tremendous threes? How about fantastic fours?" And then so he goes and hangs around with the other parents and goes, "Oh, terrible twos." He goes, "Not my daughter. She's terrific. These are terrific twos." So, you can put different stuff in, but there is no one book. The 5 a.m. Club, Dr. Robert Sharma, read that. Atomic Habits. There's so many. I would honestly challenge, like, continue to pump in stuff. Just find subject matter that is intriguing and exciting to you, and just devour it. These two things in my ear and this thing right here are the greatest learning laboratories on earth. Your vehicle, your car, driving your car, yes, you can listen to news. Of course you can. Or you can pump in what I say, the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Just keep sticking the good stuff in, and maybe one day you'll be whacked like me and have this much energy.
Well, you inspired somebody who is anonymous on here, but says, "Will you be my coach? Are you taking on clients?"
If you request go into the area and request the book, and there's a comment section. If you put the comments in there, we can chat for sure.
That's great. Okay, and let's see how we got the slides. Yeah, so I'll email out the slides as soon as I get it from Mike to everyone who was on today. And let's see, I think that should do. Oh, actually, Gary is also a coach, and he says, "You're doing great work. Maybe I think that's because I'm a business coach whose methodologies aligns with yours. With so many goals from different areas of life, what do you recommend entrepreneurs do to help achieve them? We can often get stuck trying to do it ourselves."
I was in a webinar the other day, and it was I was doing a speech to a group. It was 50, how to reinvent yourself after 50. And every now and then something good comes out of my mouth. And I said during the speech, I said, it is very difficult to fly the plane of life solo. It's very difficult. And so I'm trademarking that. So if anyone's trying to get it, I'm trademarking it. But it's very difficult to go through this journey alone. And so when you look at goals, part of the challenge I think that people have with goals, and like I showed the Savage Circle and all these different areas within that, you can't bite off too much. because we have this thing called life that really does happen to us, right? So if you can pick one goal, you know, I have a client that, and the most important thing, I think the other thing to think about is what's super important is the ability to be okay when it doesn't happen just perfectly. And I'm preaching to the choir here, because no one's harder on me than me. And sometimes when I don't accomplish something I'm striving to accomplish, I get frustrated, you know, but try and look for the, you know, I was literally on a call with a client last night. Maybe he's even on, I don't know. But he was talking about his business, and he goes, well, you know, I got this, you know, he's in construction. I got this one order. It was like $6,000, and the other one was like 30. And the other one goes, it's not where I wanted to be. I said, dude, you just had a $50,000 week. Like a $50,000 week.
I'll take that.
I said, get off the pity pot, bro. I said, you got to be super proud. You know, even my son's he's a college baseball player. And when he doesn't have a great game, I say the same thing. I say, bud, I said, write this down. I said, what's great about the game today? Okay, what's great about the game today? If you struck out 4 times looking, the bat didn't come, like, you got to run out onto the field. You got to be part of this with your friends. And so the questions that we ask and the things that we do oftentimes get in the way of us accomplishing our goals. It's like the challenge is, it's an awesome question because there is all these different areas in our lives, but have the vision board and have it staring you in the face. Like if you look at my bathroom mirror, I can't see too much mirror. I got stuff posted all over the place of all the things that aspire me and people that I, you know, dream about. One of my best buddies died, you know, probably 6 years ago, 46 years old of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And what happened was we were in this group together, and then we lost touch. And then, you know, 6 months later, he calls me, hey, Mike, come to my house. You know, I want to tell you about this new business I'm starting. I'm like, oh, damn, I'll come to your house. I show up at his house, and there's a few other people sitting around the table, and he goes, all right, guys, I just want to tell you what's happening. I realize that I have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a death sentence, and I really have a very high aggressive form of this. So I've got between 12 and 15 months to live. So what I've done is I've started a new business called ALS One, and this is where we raise funds. And I went, time out. I said, what did you just say? So I had to get up and leave the room. And I went in the other room with his wife, and she was crying, and we're crying together. I'm like, what did he just say? But here's a guy that was faced with massive adversity. And what did he do? He turned it into a business the last 12, 15 months of his life. And I remember sitting at his house with his wife right toward the end. He's got this mask on. He's breathing. His helper's there. And he has no control of his body. He doesn't even control his breathing anymore. He takes the mask off. He goes, Mike, the next step we got to get to is we really got to put some mask on. And he takes the mask. And then I got to hire this new person to be able to take over the business when I'm right. I was fascinated. His name's Kevin Gosnell. His picture with him and his 3 boys sits in my bathroom mirror because that inspires me. So again, the more that you pump in the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, and the positive, the more energized you can be. It's not easy. It's very difficult to fly this plane of life solo. Have other people that have this fire, this energy, that can just sort of help you twist your thinking a bit. I hope that answered the question. It was a long-winded version, but hopefully it answered the question.
I don't even remember what the question was. I was so fascinated.
It was about goal setting. It was like, how do you
set that's
all
right.
these goals?
But that was, I can't think of a better way to end on such an inspirational note. So Mike, thanks so much for being on today. This was a great one. We're going to upload this one again, as I mentioned, on BNI Business Builder and our YouTube channel. And we'll get out those slides to you as well. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks again. Take care.
Dream big, everybody. Thank you.